precision cooking, effortless results, ChefIQ.com. Good morning at 8 o'clock. I'm Tony Pierno. Well, Jackson Dart has received much of the attention. Another bright spot for the Giants this season has been the performance of Brian Burns. Burns enters Week 10 as the NFL's sack leader with 11 on the season. Brian Dable loves what he is seeing from his outside linebacker.
I think he's just an ultimate teammate. He lays it on the line each week. He does it in practice, the way he prepares. He just provides a good example for a lot of the guys. He controls the things that he can control. And he's been productive for us. He's leading the league in sacks right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Next up for Burns and the Giants, a date with the Chicago Bears this afternoon in the Windy City. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock with coverage here on the Fan beginning at 11 a.m. The Jets seek their first home victory of the season when they host the Browns. Justin Fields is expected to start for Gang Green, despite Aaron Glenn once again refusing to name his QB1 to reporters this week.
Well, the thing is, I don't worry about those things. Our guys know who's going to be the quarterback. I know who's going to be the quarterback. It's just not my responsibility to have to tell you that.
Fields is coming off of a strong outing against the Bengals in which he went 21 of 32 for 244 yards and a touchdown, and he also ran for 31 yards. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. The Rangers remained winless at home after they were shut out by the Islanders last night 5-0. Bo Horvat scored twice while Ilya Sorokin made 33 saves in the victory. The Blue Shirts are now 0-6-1 at the world's most famous arena, and on the college gridiron, Antoine Raymond rushed for 240 yards, and Rutgers took out Maryland 35-20. 57 degrees under mostly cloudy skies in Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Tony Pierno.
Put WFAN in your contact list. 888-808-1019. Powered by Paramount Plus. Count on Sundays all season long with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. It's Sunday morning. Time to take a spin around the NFL. This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. Here's your host, Nick Kostos.
Everybody, happy and merry Week 10 NFL Sunday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet on the Fan. Nick Kostos here with you for the next 60 minutes, talking all things betting and fantasy. Week number 10 in the National Football League. You can hit me up on Twitter if you want. It is an absolute cesspool, but I do post there at the Kostos, TheKostos. I would encourage you to hit me up on Instagram at the Kostos, TheKostos, posting sports content, betting content, other content there every day. Instagram at the Kostos, TheKostos. The show is on Twitter at You Better You Bet. And the show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. The phone number today to chime in on bets, on fantasy, on football, 888-808-1019, 888-808-1019. All right, you know how we do. Nick Kostos and you, each and every NFL Sunday morning here on The Fan. Side total and props for every game on the board in the fastest show in all of Wagertainment. Eddie, bring it up. Are you ready? Do you love it? Do you love football? Football. Football. You're damn right we do. We love football. Let's talk some football on this show. You Better You Bet. And the show starts right now. And it begins with a greeting and a salutation from me to you and yours in German. For the Germans, Guten Morgen. That means good morning in Germany. How do I know? I asked AI. Look at me, 42 years old, plug it into AI. How do you say good morning in German? You can teach an old dog new tricks. And the reason why we're saying Guten Morgen to you today is because we have an international game. I thought this game was in Munich for the first half of the week. I guess no one knew because I'm doing all these radio interviews and I'm like, hey, I can't wait for this game in Munich. No one corrected me. I guess nobody knew. The game is actually in Berlin. I don't know if that matters as far as home field advantage goes. I don't know if there's a strong Indianapolis Colts or Atlanta Falcons contingent in Berlin versus Munich or versus Rhein or any of these other German cities. And whenever I think of Rhein, I think of two things. Number one, the Rhein Fire from the European Football League, a great rivalry with the Barcelona Dragons from back in the day. And of course, the Du Hast Classic from the late 90s, or the Rammstein Classic, I should say, Du Hast. 9. Oh, yeah, great song from back in the day for the old heads out there, the real ones that remember that. So we got the Colts and the Falcons coming up from Berlin. Indy, a 6.5-point home favorite, total 48.5. This game kicks off an hour and 20 minutes from now, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Temperature in this game, just to give a weather report, just because I think this stuff is important. We're going to be in the 40s. No precipitation. Weather will not impact this game. We will have a couple games where weather will be a factor, most notably in the Giants-Bears game at Soldier Field in Chicago. We will get to that as we move along. But as far as this game is concerned, injury stuff. No DeForest Buckner for the Indianapolis Colts. That is one that absolutely matters. And thank you to Eddie just sent me the injury stuff here. I'm just looking at it to make sure. We have nothing of any note here. No surprises. So DeForest Buckner, thank you, Ed. DeForest Buckner is out for the Colts. That helps Bijan Robinson in the Falcons run game. We'll get to that more in the fantasy segment. And for the Colts, Sauce Gardner is going to play in this game for Indianapolis after the Jets traded him in that stunner on Tuesday at the deadline. We'll get into more of that when we talk about the Jets and the Browns. Just worth noting, Brian Baldinger, Odyssey Sports NFL Insider, at Baldy NFL on Twitter, one of the best, comes on my show every single Wednesday. I asked him point blank, is Sauce Gardner overrated? Baldy said with no hesitation, yes, he is overrated. And I think a lot of Jets fans agree with that. You guys watch the games every week, super intelligent audience. You have this contingent of, it's the all 22 film grinders that sit in these dimly lit rooms with Cheeto dust on their fingers who want to tell you, oh, well, look at the tight window throws he forces. These are the people that tell you that Geno Smith is better than Patrick Mahomes because he steps up in the muddy pocket like he's an SUV. Look what he does in the mud. Wow, he's great. Stop it. Stop it. So this game is an interesting one to handicap. Atlanta is an exceptionally frustrating team. I bet the Falcons last week on the money line against the Patriots. They lost by 1 because Parker Romo, who would have thunk it? Last name Romo stinks on field goals. Shout out to that Cowboys-Seahawks game and Bill Parcells. Misses an extra point. The Patriots end up winning the game by 1. As part of Nick Kostos' Sunday Bloody Sunday, in which I got absolutely destroyed on my bets last week. That was no fun. Laid the Colts, absolutely face-planted in Pittsburgh against the Steelers, thanks to 6 turnovers, 5 of them by Daniel Jones, as Giants fans across the tri-state area nodding, perhaps with a frown on their face at their radios, or for those of you that are watching this right now on YouTube, and shout out to all of you. So Atlanta has been a really frustrating team, right? Where you feel like 1 week capable of beating the best team in the league, 1 week capable of losing to the worst team in the league. And for Indy, I've seen a lot of people say, like last week was the real Daniel Jones, this was the real Indianapolis Colts. And I'm reticent to say that. Pittsburgh did a nice job of bottling up Jonathan Taylor and the Colts run game. And look, unless you're the 72, in all seriousness, not a setup to a joke, unless you're the 72 Dolphins or the 2007 Patriots, you're going to have some stumbles over the course of a long regular season. It's going to happen. And even that 2007 Patriots team, obviously the Giants could have beaten them in the final game of the regular season. Happy they didn't, as it turns out. But they could have lost a couple games down the stretch. That Monday night game in Baltimore against Kyle Bowler and the Ravens comes to mind as well. These things happen over the course of a long season. I'm more willing to say that's kind of a one-off and an unlucky performance from the Colts, whereas something that's going to be indicative of, Daniel Jones is just going to turn it over like he's wearing a Giants uniform again. I don't know if that's going to happen. So as far as betting the game, I'm not going to. If I had to, I would take the points with Atlanta, because on a neutral field for Indy to be favored by 6.5, like the intimation is, if this game were in Indianapolis, we'd be looking at Colts have really good home field advantage, like an 8-point spread, like would get you through 7, which is obviously like the second most key number betting the NFL behind 3. And I don't know if Indy should be an 8-point favorite over Atlanta with the upside that the Falcons have. Now, it's like I say every week, right? Atlanta could lose to the worst team in the league. So would it really be that surprising if the Colts won this game, 28-14? It would not surprise me. So I will pass this game. People I respect are on both sides here. So, there's no consensus here from the sharp contention from people that I really respect. I will pass this game. If I had to bet it, I would begrudgingly take the 6.5 with Atlanta. I will have some bets in this game, and for those bets, we will take a trip to the old prop market. Drake London last week, he started from the bottom, and now he's here. Absolutely annihilated Christian Gonzalez, who is one of the best corners in the league for the New England Patriots. Scored 3 touchdowns, a couple insane catches for Drake London. And now, maybe Sauce Gardner shadows him. I'm not convinced Sauce is that much better than Christian Gonzalez. And I'm looking at Drake London. I'm actually have it up on MGM here. The number has been getting bet up over the course of the morning. So this was a very nice 69.5, 20 minutes ago. Now we're at 70.5 for Drake London. I think that Drake London's yardage props need to start with an 8. So I will have Drake London over receiving yards. I bet 69.5, 70.5 is obviously okay. And I will also take a shot, and I've been betting him every week recently, and he's been coming through. And I think Indianapolis kind of showed you its kind of long-term plans for this player with the trade of A.D. Mitchell to the Jets as part of the Sauce Gardner deal. And we'll get to A.D. Mitchell when we talk about the Jets and the Browns. I think that trade all but solidifies that the Colts will be re-signing wide receiver Alec Pierce. I think he's so good, not just as a vertical threat. We say it every week. He's #expanded the route tree. Alec Pierce over 54.5 receiving yards. As far as anytime touchdowns go, the prices suck for basically everyone in this game. And not a ton of players touch the ball for both teams, so everyone that could touch the ball is at a pretty low price. If I had to take a look at 2 longer shots, it would be for the Colts, Ashton Dulin for Indianapolis. And if you really want to go deep, the window, David Sills, the former Giant David Sills for Atlanta. I don't love either, but just throwing them out there. And if you wanted to bet Bijan and Jonathan Taylor, obviously both could score, I would bet them to score multiple touchdowns as opposed to just one, or put them in a parlay. To the AFC East we go, into the 1 o'clock slate here on the East Coast. The Buffalo Bills, 9.5-point road favorites in Miami against the Dolphins. Total of the game is 50. So for Buffalo, we're going to have to watch the actives and inactives when they come out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, because the Bills have a couple of key defensive players that are questionable in this game. Star corner Christian Benford, he's their best corner, and rookie Maxwell Hairston played really well last week, but Benford, I think, is still their best corner. Teron Johnson, another one of their corners, also questionable, as is defensive lineman Daquan Jones, and their other defensive lineman who had been hurt this season, Michael Hoyt, tore his Achilles last week in the win against Kansas City, so they could really use Daquan Jones. And Josh Palmer, substandard villain in the classic 1997 Japanese role-playing game Final Fantasy VII. But Josh Palmer, pretty good NFL wide receiver. He's questionable for the Bills. Chop Robinson out for Miami. As is general manager Chris Greer for the Dolphins, who ran the team for 10 years and won 0 playoff games, which is almost more impressive than running a team for 10 years and winning a Super Bowl. Winning 0 playoff games and keeping your job for that long. So change is coming for the Miami Dolphins. They can say Mike McDaniel's keeping his job till the end of the season. I'll believe it when we get there. Either way, he ain't coming back next year, and the Dolphins need to seriously consider moving on from Tua Tagovailoa and let Tua let him go to WWE and be a part of the bloodline. Like, get Tama Tonga out of there. Let Tua stand in for Tama Tonga in the bloodline. Tua stinks, and he says dumb stuff in front of the media like, I'm over Tua Tagovailoa as a franchise quarterback. As far as the game goes, look, I loved the Chiefs last week against Buffalo, and I could not have been more wrong about that game. I would do like a Notorious B.I.G. dead wrong bit here, but I don't want to get fired. Those lyrics are really bad in that song. So wrong about that game. The Bills won by 7, but we all watched the game. It did a monster rating. Buffalo really handled the Chiefs in that game. Defense was impressive. Run game was impressive. And they were super physical. They really were. Now, with that being said, it does feel like this number is a little big for the Bills to be favored by, which does not mean that I want to bet Miami. I don't want to bet Miami, at least not yet. If we get to 11:30 and the actives and inactives come out, and Buffalo's down a number of players in the secondary, I think you can make a case that Miami should be a bet here, not to win the game, but just that the spread's a little big, right? And, Tua, to his credit, is, not even close to Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Not even in the same galaxy. But the Miami offense is predicated on him taking the snap and throwing the football immediately. Whereas Mahomes is going to run around a little bit. And Mahomes, again, is way better. But I think they can kind of mitigate the Buffalo pass rush in that regard. So if we get to 11:30 and Buffalo's defense, none of these guys play, I think you can make a case for Miami. Otherwise, if they're all playing, I'm not going to bet the game, but I would lay Buffalo if we got there and all these guys are playing. I don't know how the Dolphins are going to stop James Cook and Ray Davis and Ty Johnson and the Bills' run game. And then here's Josh Allen against Miami's defense against a dead team walking. So I will pass the game for now. Let's see what the actives and inactives hold at 11:30. 1 yardage prop. It just came out this morning that the Bills were the biggest suitor for Dolphins receiver Jalen Waddle at the trade deadline. And with good reason. Jalen Waddle's really good. And in the Dolphins' last 4 games, with the wind game in Cleveland excluded because no one could throw the ball in that game, with Tyreek Hill out, last 4 games for Jalen Waddle, 9 for 110, 8 for 95, 6 for 99, 9 for 82. I'll take a stand on Jalen Waddle over 65.5 receiving yards today. And anytime touchdowns, Julian Hill is back for Miami at the tight end position today. Darren Waller remains out. But we saw last week, former Giant, the legendary Giant tight end. And when you think about the annals of legendary Giants tight ends, Bavaro, Shockey, Big Boss, Kevin Boss, lots of good ones. Greg Dulcich obviously belongs in the pantheon of Giants greats, does he? Greg Dulcich, anytime touchdown for Miami. Panthers and the Saints in Carolina. Carolina at 5-4, same record as the Chiefs. Make that make sense. Carolina, a 5.5-point home favorite. Total in the game, 38.5. This New Orleans offensive line absolutely decimated. Tylese Fuaga, their first-round pick last year, high ankle sprain, he's out. Star center Eric McCoy, the Reels brother, out for the season. And Trevor Penning, one of their starting guards, just traded to the LA Chargers. He will start for the Chargers tonight. We'll get to them and their game against the Steelers as we move along here. Tet McMillan was added to the injury report on Friday for Carolina, but per all the insider tweets overnight, Tet McMillan should be good to go in this game. And we know what Carolina wants to do here, what the FBI is trying to do to the NBA. They want to hit him with the Rico. Just tons of Rico Dowdle. Building the whole plane out of Rico Dowdle. Can I be honest with everyone? I have heard people use that expression, build the whole plane out of. I actually don't know what it's from. I think it might be from Jaws, but I'm actually not sure about that. I've never seen Jaws. I'm not a huge movie guy. I'll sit down to watch the worst NFL game for 3 hours, but the idea of dedicating 2 hours to a movie actually makes my skin break out in hives. Not literally, figuratively. That would be a weird condition. So we know Carolina wants to hit him with the Rico, right? And just run the ball and hide Bryce Young. Hide Bryce Young the way for all you freaks out there who are dating, whether you're a man, a woman, whatever you're into, and that person really likes you, but you won't post them on Instagram. You won't make it official on social media. You're hiding that person, just like Dave Canales and the Panthers and their director of analytics, the great Dr. Eric Eager, are hiding Bryce Young. They don't want Bryce Young to throw the ball. They want to run the ball with Rico Dowdle and maybe a little Chuba Hubbard. For New Orleans, the Tyler Shuck one-game experiment last week didn't go so well. They possessed the ball for 16 minutes, which is one of like the 15 worst marks in the history of the NFL. Not an exaggeration. And that's how you get to a point spread like this with Carolina, even though they're 5-4, not a great team, almost favored by 6. So where I come down on this from a betting perspective is I don't think I can ever lay this many points with Carolina when all they want to do is run the ball. And maybe they run for 250 yards and they choke the game out and New Orleans has no possession. I certainly don't want to bet the Saints, but I also don't want to lay these points with Carolina. This is a pass for me. What I will just say to everybody is New Orleans, I think, is the preferred betting side among sharp bettors that I have spoken to, which doesn't mean the Saints will cover or win, just passing along that information. 1 yardage prop. Allow me to channel my inner Dean Martin and say, oh, lave, oh, e cantare, oh, Chris Olave. With Rashid Shaheed traded to the Seahawks, we'll get to that a little later. I think Chris Olave is going to be a beneficiary of that. Clearly the number one option in this passing offense. Now, maybe the Saints just don't have the ball at all in the game and he goes under. I'll take a shot on Olave over 58.5 receiving yards. I think this is an interesting anytime touchdown game. And as always, the anytime touchdown bets are meant to be smaller bets. If you're going to bet Rico Dowdle, if you want to hit him with the Rico, I would bet Rico to score 2 touchdowns, not just 1. I think that Carolina, when you get down by the goal line, because Rico has been so effective, Mr. Suave, they're going to run some play action. I would take a look at Tommy Tremble. I knew you were Tremble when you walked in. Tremble, Tremble, Tremble. And for the Saints, remember at the start of the year, they traded a couple picks for Devon Vele, former Broncos receiver, just like insane. He's going to play more now with Shaheed out. I think a couple bucks on Devon Vele. There have been worse expenditures of money than that. This game makes me really sad as we go from the NFC South to the AFC South. The Jaguars and the Texans. In Houston, Jacksonville a 1-point road favorite, total 37.5. This game should be so much more fun than it is. C.J. Stroud is out. Davis Mills will start. Stroud concussed. The Texans are down a couple offensive linemen and safety Jalen Petrie. And for Jacksonville, the nightmare season for Brian Thomas Jr. continues. He will miss this game with an ankle sprain. He has destroyed fantasy leagues nationwide, including many of mine. And Travis Hunter is on injured reserve. Just like, can we simulate to the end of the season for Jacksonville, please? I guess they could still make the playoffs. It's just frustrating. I'm so mad at both of them. I'm mad at both these teams. I'm really mad at Jacksonville. The best unit on the field in this game is undoubtedly the Texans' defense. It just is. And maybe Houston's defense wins this game. And to be clear, I don't want to bet that. I hate this game. I don't want to bet it. I have an irrational and likely stupid opinion as to how this game will play out. Because, it's this is like my own version of Brokeback Mountain. Make of that what you will. I can't quit Trevor Lawrence. No matter how bad he is, I still think he's kind of good, even though there's a lot of evidence that he's not. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to win this game at the end for the Jaguars. Maybe it's really low scoring, but remember, the Jaguars have Stewart's brother, Cam Little, who banged home a 68-yarder last week that would have been good from 75 against the Raiders. Big kicking advantage for the Jaguars in this game. If I had to bet the game, I would bet Jacksonville just to win. Yardage props. Nico Collins. Nico, like a derivative of Nick, so I like him. Nico Collins, the number's just too low for him, even with Davis Mills starting. Nico Collins over 61.5 receiving yards. And for anytime touchdowns, let's take a look at Dan's brother, Tim Patrick. We'll talk about the Jaguars receiving corps today in the fantasy segment, but Tim Patrick for a couple bucks. And, Nick Chubb is priced a little bit longer than Woody Marks. So, let's to quote my pal Brad Evans, let's get bottle service at the Chubb Club. Nick Chubb anytime touchdown for the Houston Texans. All right, Giants fans, let's talk about our team. The Bears, 4.5-point home favorites against Big Blue. The total is 46.5. Paulson Adebo out. John Michael Schmitz out. Graham Gano out. It's just like, I hate this team. Jermaine Illuminor and Javon Holland questionable. DeAndre Swift expected to play for the Bears. Cole Kmet's going to play. Luther Burden's going to play, but no TJ Edwards, which does free things up over the middle of the field for the Giants. You know, I was talking with Ed Arzuman before the show. Zoo, on the other side of the glass. There is no glass. I'm doing this from Staten Island. Ed's in Manhattan. I can't see Ed. There is no glass. But I'm talking to Ed down the line, as we call it here in the profession. And Ed says to me, you know, the frustrating thing about the Giants is that they were in some of these games. They were there to win. To which I replied to Ed, no. There are no games for the Giants to win. Because they stink. They're losers. And now the talk is, well, maybe Joe Shane comes back and Brian Dable doesn't. Like, I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm in a Kafka novel. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like the Kafka novel, The Castle. This isn't The Castle. This is The Giants fan, where you wake up and there's just some surrealism every day where people continue to rationalize like 4 years of this. Like, this is like a presidency here, and you want to vote them back in office. I don't understand. To the game. The reason why the total is 46.5 is because the weather is going to be terrible today in Chicago. There is almost certainly going to be snow on the ground, but as we say every week here on You Better You Bet, when we get to this time of year, snow is not what destroys an over and destroys offense. Snow helps offenses. Offensive players know where they're going before the snap. Defensive players don't. It helps the offense. It's wind. Wind is what destroys passing games and makes games go under the total. And as always, you know, we don't know how this is going to go yet as far as the wind goes. We won't know until we get closer to kickoff. It doesn't look like it's going to be that terrible. So, you know, as the morning goes on and when you're watching pregame shows or you're on social media and you see snow on the ground, like don't look at the snow and say, oh my God, I have to bet the under. Like, check for wind. 25 miles per hour plus. Like, that's what can kill passing games. And we don't know what this is going to be yet. So it's tough for me to give you a bet on this game. I'd like to say, like, bet the Giants plus the points. The Bears defense is bad. We saw them get nuked last week by Cincinnati. But, man, I mean, the Giants can't stop the run to Shane Bowen. Just like, imagine all of this being real. And Kyle Monangai, I'm not your buddy guy, and DeAndre Swift, like, should be able to run just down their throats in this game. I'll pass this game as far as the side is concerned. I will like the over at 46.5 or 47, but we won't be able to know until we get a little closer to kickoff. Yardage props. Hey, here's to you, Wan'Dale Robinson. Since Kyler Gordon, Chicago's slot corner, went out for the season, they've been giving up tons of production to slot receivers, and TJ Edwards is out. Wan'Dale Robinson over 49.5 receiving yards. And anytime touchdowns, how about Mike's son, Devin Singletary? Even though Giants, and I just noticed the tie-in here, and I didn't even realize it when I said it. Mike Kafka. Great German author. Mike Kafka saying that Tyrone Tracy, Dick's grandson, will be the Giants' starting running back. Devin Singletary still going to get some work. Devin Singletary, anytime touchdown. And Bears' second-round receiver, Luther Burden, is back in the lineup. So allow me to channel my inner Vandross and say, if this world were mine. Luther Burden, anytime touchdown for a couple bucks. He's like 8-1 for the Chicago Bears. The Battle of Purple in Minnesota. The Baltimore Ravens, 4-point road favorites at the Vikings. Total is 49. For the Ravens, there is no injury report. Everybody's healthy. They are living in extremes right now. No spring, no fall, just winter and summer for the Baltimore Ravens. Either everybody's out or everybody's playing. And for the Vikings, Aaron Jones, who? Aaron Jones. His cell phone number, as always, 281-330-8004. Aaron Jones expected to play for Minnesota. So we give the Vikings a lot of credit. I had Lions teaser legs last week. They obviously lost outright. And the Vikings, that's a season-saving win by Minnesota on the road in Detroit. And J.J. McCarthy got a lot of credit for that win, even though he only threw for 140 yards. And I'm not trying to bag on McCarthy. He's barely played any football. Still a lot of time for him to be a great quarterback. And mentally, like his mental makeup, I really like it. And I'm not being sarcastic. He's a crazy person. He refers to himself on game day as 9, as we continue the Du Hast references, because that's his jersey number. And he says that I like to feed the wolf. He's crazy, again, on NFL Sundays during game days. Feed the wolf. Okay, this is, like he's, House Stark in Game of Thrones. But, you want your quarterback to be a psychopath in a good way. So I like that for Minnesota long term. But as far as this game is concerned, I think these are the spots now where we want to try and buy Baltimore, where everyone's healthy and they look like they did before the season, and the defense is back in good shape with Alohi Gilman playing deep at safety, allowing Kyle Hamilton to play at the line of scrimmage, and he's an absolute beast. Brian Flores is going to send the blitz. Lamar's been the best quarterback all season long at beating the blitz. I do like the Ravens here laying the 4 in Minnesota. Yardage props. Guess who's back? Back again. O. Henry's brother, Derek, is back. Make sure you tell a friend. Because when Lamar's playing, the Ravens are up in games. And that means Derrick Henry gets to play. Derrick Henry over 78.5 rushing yards. Anytime touchdowns, I've got a few. With Josh Oliver, Minnesota's backup tight end, out, we can take a look at Nick Vannett, great first name, who will be the blocking tight end for the Vikings. I think the Ravens will be up at the end of the game, which means Keaton Mitchell will get some carries. And then Jalen Nailor. There's a funny joke to be made. It's too early and it's Sunday. I won't make it. But Jalen Nailor gets tons of targets from J.J. McCarthy. About plus 550 at MGM. Small money bet on Jalen Nailor. Browns and the Jets. You've heard of the Super Bowl? You've heard of the Toilet Bowl. This might be the Tank Bowl. And Jets fans, I hope you were watching yesterday. Indiana's comeback against Penn State at the end of the game. And Fernando the Line Mendoza looking awesome at the end of the game. Standing in the pocket, taking shots, making big throws down the field, including the game-winning touchdown to Omar Cooper as Indiana escapes Happy Valley with a 27-24 win. And I think we are setting up, for those interested, in the Indiana-Ohio State Big Ten title game. Winner of that game, whichever quarterback plays better, Ohio State's Julian Sayin or Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, I think is likely to win the Heisman Trophy. But look, Mendoza could be the Jets quarterback next year, so just keep an eye on that if you are Jets fans. Garrett Wilson's going to play. A.D. Mitchell, I think, is going to play for the Jets. We'll get to him in the fantasy segment. Harold Fannin, and Cedric Tillman are both expected to play today for Cleveland. Just a couple quick notes on the trade deadline for the Jets in case you didn't listen to my show during the week. If you don't follow me on socials, at the Kostos, TheKostos. If you missed me with BT and Sal on Friday, I go on with them every Friday at 12:40. A+++ for the Jets. To quote the late, great George Young, the former Giants general manager, embroiled in a contract dispute with linebacker Bradley Van Pelt in the early to mid-'80s before Bill Parcells really turned things around for Big Blue. And I'm paraphrasing here, and if I don't get the exact details right, you understand the spirit of what I'm saying. But basically, George Young said to Brad Van Pelt, "We lose all the time with you. We can lose without you." The Jets were 1-7 with Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. They can go 1-7 without them. This was A++ from Darren Muji and the Jets. And for all the Jets fans out there, I'm going to say this a little meanly, but I'm trying to help you think positively. I understand that for your lifetimes, the Jets can't get it right at quarterback, and they often screw it up, right, when they have these assets. Just because old GMs have screwed up does not mean that this GM has to screw up. I'm not saying he's going to get it right, but don't look at past failures as an indication of what has to happen in the future. It does not have to go like that. He can get it wrong, but he can also get it right. I want the Jets fans to feel positive about this because you have a war chest of assets with 2 good drafts coming up. Maybe you get Jeremiah Smith in 27. You should be optimistic right now about the future if you're a Jets fan. It doesn't have to go right, but for now, I think you should be optimistic. As far as this game goes, it sucks, and I don't want to bet it or watch it. Yardage prop. If A.D. Mitchell plays over 5.5 receiving yards, I think he's so good, and maybe I'm just an idiot about that. I really think he's awesome. So that'll be a bet for me. If you don't want to bet it, he may have 0 targets in the game. Up to you. You have the license to do whatever you want. You have free will. Quinshon Judkins over rushing yards has been a sharp bet this week. We have Jay Croucher, NBC Sports betting analyst, one of the best futures bettors in the world, came on You Better You Bet on Thursday and gave out Judkins over rushing yards. That's sitting at about 80.5. If you had to bet an anytime touchdown in this game, I would go with Justin Fields. And by the way, that whole thing with like Aaron Glenn, I'm not going to name a starter. Gee, I wonder if it's going to be the guy who won you the game before the bye week and played awesome. Like, that's where I defended Aaron Glenn a couple weeks ago. Like, he loses me with stuff like that. Like, am I going to start Tyrod Taylor after Justin Fields won a game? Like, who believed that nonsense? Like, come on, Aaron. Tom Brady Bowl in Tampa. Bucks and the Patriots. Tampa, a 2.5-point home favorite. The total in the game is 48. Fantasy-wise here, Ramondre Stevenson out for New England, as is Kayshawn, booty, rocking everywhere. Shout out to Bubba Sparks. For Tampa, Bucky Irving is out, as is Chris Godwin, as is star pass rusher Hassan Reddick. And sorry, Jets fans, he is a pretty good pass rusher. Luke Gedeke, Tampa's right tackle, which makes me think of Ted Beneke from Breaking Bad. And it's not supposed to be a funny line, but when Walt is in the crawl space and yells at Skyler, "You gave our money to Beneke," made me laugh out loud in the moment, and then they have the zoom out of him in the crawl space laughing maniacally. Great scene, great show. You gave our money to Beneke? One of the great lines. So the Patriots here are trying to win the AFC East. And Drake May could win MVP when it's all said and done. It's been that type of year for the Patriots. But they have gotten fat on mostly a bad schedule, right? And I don't even mean that as an insult. You beat the teams that are in front of you, just how for real are they? And, one of my favorite this is the second Kendrick Lamar reference of the show, on what I consider to be the best Kendrick Lamar album, which is To Pimp a Butterfly. He's got a song that goes under the radar called Anna, on that, which is a great song. And there's a part in the chorus when he goes, "I'm real, I'm really, really real." And today, we can find out I'm 42. I'm sorry. Are the Patriots really, really real? They win this game, you can say they are. We know Drake May's for real. Are the Patriots for real? For me, I think this is a fact-finding mission. If I had to bet the game, I'd lay Tampa. I think Drake May might just be good enough to pull this off himself. And a lot of people I respect do like the Patriots in this game just to win. Forget about the points. Worth noting, Baker Mayfield prior to the bye had an oblique injury. He's talked about that this week, that he needed the bye week to get healthier. You might get a great shake and bake performance here. I'll be passing this game, but watching with a keen eye. Patriots have been the sharp bet this week for those interested in that sort of thing. Yardage prop. With Emeka Egbuka likely to be shadowed by Christian Gonzalez, and maybe that doesn't matter. Look what Drake London did to Gonzalez last week. I will take a look at Tampa's number 2 receiver until either Evans or Godwin comes back. Tez Johnson, over 46.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Last week, remember we told you Terrell Jennings, like Mike Vrabel loves him. Terrell Jennings, anytime touchdown again. And with Kayshawn Boutte out, this could be Kyle Williams week, New England's rookie wide receiver, not the Kyle Williams who fumbled in overtime of the 2011 NFC Championship game at Candlestick against the Giants. I was there. It was great. And the Giants recovered and would go out to win the game. But rookie wide receiver Kyle Williams for the New England Patriots. Seahawks and the Cardinals in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle, a 7-point home favorite. Total is 45.5. Jacoby Brissett starts for Arizona. Kyler Murray on injured reserve. I think it's likely Kyler Murray has played his last snap as an Arizona Cardinal. He could be like a Jets bridge. But we'll see what happens. Kyler will not be a Cardinal next year. Max Melton and Will Johnson out for Arizona. Bad news for them in their secondary. Rashid Shaheed will make his Seahawks debut today after being acquired on Tuesday. Cooper Kupp, 50-50 to play. Torrey Horton is doubtful, unfortunately, for Seattle. So like the little piggy, I'm taking my opinion on Arizona to market here. And I've said this before on this show, when Arizona's a big favorite, I bet the dog. When Arizona is a big dog, I bet on them. Feels like all their games are close, so I'm going to bet Arizona here at 7. It has to be 7. If you like Seattle, I would wait for a 6.5. And the defensive back injuries for Arizona are worrisome. And let's be clear, Seattle is a legitimate Super Bowl contender. If you, and no one can, but if you can guarantee Sam Darnold would play like this in January, I would bet Seattle to win the NFC. That's the only thing that's holding me up from liking Seattle to win the conference. That's how good the Seahawks are. Arizona, though, the gravitational pull towards close games. Cardinals, it has to be 7. +7 for Arizona. Yardage props. Trey, father of McBride, over 64.5 receiving yards. JSN's yardage prop is 98.5. Feels too low. Amari DiMercado, anytime touchdown for Arizona. Rams and the Niners in the Bay Area. Rams a 6-point road favorite, total 49.5. Mac Jones starts again for San Fran. Like, who the hell knows when Brock Purdy will be back? Ricky Pearsall out again, killing fantasy teams nationwide. Bryce Huff may play. Look, Giants fans, we watched the Niners defense last week. You know this Niners defense is terrible. It's just that the Giants stink. Whereas the Rams, might be, you can make the case the Rams are, and I know I just said I would bet Seattle. They might be the two best teams in the NFC, and they play next week. That will be awesome, Rams and the Seahawks. Now, I've liked the Rams all week, talked about it on You Better You Bet, talked about it on all the radio hits I do throughout the week on my social channels, at the Kostos. Can you follow me there, please, so I can stop promoting it? At the Kostos, TheKostos, especially on Instagram. Thank you very much. Now that the number 6... I guess the only bet would be San Francisco at 6. I don't want to bet San Francisco. I feel like the Rams are going to score at will in this game. No bet for me on this game. The time to bet the Rams was earlier in the week. Yardage prop. The shell necklace. Puka Nacua over any number that doesn't start with a 1. I think he clears 100 yards today. Anytime touchdowns. Blake Corum. The Earth's Corum, not to score once, but to score twice. When the Rams are behind, he never plays. Kyron Williams does. When the Rams are ahead, he takes a lot of work away from Kyron Williams. Lions and the Commanders in our nation's capital. Lions, an 8-point road favorite. Total is 49. The Lions' offensive line going to be healthy for this game. Jaden Daniels is out. Marcus Mariota starts. Terry McLaurin out. Marshawn Lattimore out for the season. Rematch of the divisional round game from this past January where the Commanders went into Detroit and upset the Lions. And I don't think that happens here. Now, some people I respect took the points with Washington, with the thought process being, Detroit struggled last week against Minnesota, and maybe Washington can move the ball on the Lions. I don't see it that way. If I had to bet this game, I would lay Detroit, but the number feels perfect. I will pass the game. I don't hate Detroit as a teaser leg. Yardage prop, pour yourself a shot at J-Mo. Jamison Williams over 43.5 receiving yards, and I like J-Mo anytime touchdown, even at a short number. Jeremy McNichols, anytime touchdown for the Commies. And Sunday Night Football, Chargers and the Steelers from L.A. Chargers 2.5-point home favorites, total 44.5. I know the Chargers are the home team here. The Steelers will have home field advantage in this game. You'll turn on this game tonight, and you will see terrible towels everywhere, and it will feel like a Steelers home game because there are no Chargers fans. And for the Chargers, Joe Alt is now out for the season, Control Alt Elite, along with Rashawn Slater, so both their all-pro tackles are out. Trevor Penning, the Chargers traded for him on Tuesday. He's going to start tonight. This offensive line is in rough shape. If I'm betting this game, and I might, it's Steelers +3. The number has to be 3, not 2.5. Where I don't have confidence in the Chargers offensive line to protect Justin Herbert. Now, the Steelers defense, despite the 6 turnovers forced last week, I feel like is still not good, and Herbert's an absolute monster, so maybe Herbert can play well enough here to get the Chargers over the finish line at 2.5. Steelers +3 for me. Under 44.5 also feels like a pretty good look. And yardage prop, Phil's son, Ladd McConkey, just both wide receivers. They're actually not related. Ladd McConkey over 61.5 receiving yards. And anytime touchdowns, we like to play the Steelers tight end at the longest odds. That is 6'7". I will not do the 6'7" thing because I'm too old. Darnell Washington, anytime touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quick break, and coming up next, fantasy football breakdown for every game and a deeper dive into props. 888-808-1019 is the number, 888-808-1019. It's You Better You Bet on The Fan with me, Nick Kostos, and you, whoever the hell you are. Pete, that was for you. Presented by BetMGM.
The Nets stop off at Penn Station to play the Knicks at MSG. 6 o'clock today. The home of Brooklyn Nets basketball is The Fan. 101.9 FM and always streaming on the Odyssey, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio app.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel is coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop, and now we're making it even better. Because this week, FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account. Because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Geo to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. That's FanDuel.com/GIO. We just love the app around here. It's safe and secure, and when you win, you get paid instantly. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WFAN. 21 and over and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issues, non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
It's about time pros had one partner for every part of the job. Simple ordering, fast delivery, continuous support, all from one partner. The Home Depot delivers supplies on your schedule. Our pro team helps you plan ahead so projects run smoother. And with Pro Extra benefits, you can simplify ordering, track spending, and save time every step of the way. Because with one partner, you get more than materials, you keep your job moving. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
A blown left headlight is making Erica's drive to her son's soccer game darker and darker. So she goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Where a friendly AutoZoner finds her 2 new bulbs.
These lights have the most clarity.
And helps her get back on the road so she can brighten her drive and the cheering section.
All right, all right.
See clearer and drive safer. With new lights, no hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
We're always talking New York sports on The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. For New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257.
Talk New York sports here. The Fan. It's Sunday morning. Time to plug into everything NFL. Time for your best bets and fantasy fix. It's time for You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. Here's your host, Nick Kostos.
Indeed, it is I, Nick Kostos, here with you on the Fan. Glorious Week 10 NFL Sunday. 888-808-1019 is the number. 888-808-1019. All right. Fantasy and prop betting nuggets for every game as we dive deep. How deep? Falcons and the Colts in Berlin. I have a question for everybody. I should have had a joke planned here. I normally could just come up with one off the top of my head. It's Week 10. So the brain doesn't work as fast as it normally does. What the hell is going on with the Atlanta Falcons run game? Like, I don't really mean this literally, kind of. Is there a case to be made that Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson should have to serve jail time for the fact that Bijan Robinson does nothing in these games? I don't even know what to say. No, DeForest Buckner should help Bijan. You're never sitting Bijan, but yes, I am frustrated, just like all of you are, watching the Falcons and betting Bijan props and starting Bijan in fantasy. I'm not scared of Sauce Gardner. I'm starting Drake London. I think Drake London's an absolute monster. And look, like, Darnell Mooney has been such a disappointment. Like, maybe he pops today, but maybe he doesn't. If you want to start Kyle Pitts, I wish you good luck and Godspeed. I do think we get bounce-back performances today from Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones. Love me at some Alec Pierce. You can start Michael Pittman. And I'm a little nervous about Tyler Warren. Atlanta has been pretty good against opposing tight ends this year, but I think you obviously have to start Tyler Warren. Been an absolute monster and might win Offensive Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done. Bills and the Dolphins in Miami. James Cook is going to be like Kirby. Like from the video games, just eating everything in front of him, or Pac-Man. Ba 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 ba. How are the Dolphins stopping him? It's not happening. There's just no way. Dolphins pass game. Love Dalton Kincaid. Love Khalil Shakir. Can Keon Coleman ever do anything? If Josh Palmer comes back, maybe the answer to that question is no. And for Miami, you know how this is going to go. It's Devon Achane, it's Jalen Waddle. I do kind of think Greg Dulcich has a good game today for Miami, although Julian Hill will be back for the Dolphins. Saints and the Panthers. Man, if you've got Rico Dowdle, you know what to do. Hit him with the Rico, baby. Like Rico Banderas in the critically acclaimed 1998 Japanese role-playing game for PlayStation 1, Xenogears, which I believe... And I've played a lot of video games. I'm playing Ghost of Yotai right now for PS5. That 10 out of 10. Xenogears is the greatest video game ever made. Everybody should play it. That has no tie-in with Rico Dowdle other than characters having the same name. I just wanted to promote the video game that I love. So we're going to hit him with the Rico today. He's an absolute must-start. Chuba Hubbard has been relegated to, total bench status here. He's a desperation start today for the Carolina Panthers. Tet McMillan you can play, but I would temper expectations for him with the run game being what it is right now for Carolina. For the Saints, I think it's just Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson and Alvin Kamara. Also, make sure you're stashing Devin Neal wherever you can. Jags and the Texans, this game makes me sad. Pharrell should record a remix to the song Because I'm Happy, and it should be Because I'm Sad, and the music video should be Brian Thomas Jr. dropping passes over the middle of the field. It sucks. Bashal Tutin, you can't start him. I thought for sure that he was going to be a beast this season. It has not come to pass. He did score a touchdown last week, but it's Travis Etienne's backfield. Jacoby Myers, the Jaguars acquired at the trade deadline. He doesn't know the playbook. That's not an insult. It's all new terminology. He's been there for 5 days. And he's going to be playing on the outside, where he's going to see Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter on the outside, on the outside, on the outside. Parker Washington over the middle could have a nice game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For Houston, it's just Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz. And I guess Nick Chubb and Woody Marks if you need an RB3 or a flex play. Giants and the Bears. Mike Kafka said Tyrone Tracy is the starter. Tyrone Tracy should have a good game today. So should Devin Singletary. The Bears can't stop the run. And I had noted You Better You Bet diehard listener and fan Kevin Hilmers from Chicago messaged me. Snow on the ground in Chicago. Shout out to you, my friend. Snow on the ground in Chicago right now. We just want to see what the wind is before we bet this game. Jackson Dart should have like 50 rushing yards in this game. I worry about him getting hurt with all the hits that he takes. I like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger could both have decent games with TJ Edwards out over the middle of the field. Just they kind of cannibalize each other. Theo obviously is more startable than Bellinger. For the Bears, I think you can start DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. Roma Dunze 0-0 last week. He should have a better game this week. I don't know. You can start Colston Loveland, but Cole Kmet's back this week. But Loveland was a beast. Had the game-winning touchdown last week, and the Bears didn't draft him 10th overall to not play him. I'm just tempering expectations with Cole Kmet back. Ravens and the Vikings. Derrick Henry back in our lives, and it feels really good. I have a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night. I also have a feeling that Zay Flowers... Bring May showers, whatever. Zay Flowers could be a league winner in fantasy football moving forward this season. Love me some Zay Flowers for Baltimore. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, great for real life for Lamar Jackson. Cannibalize each other, obviously, in fantasy. And for the Vikings, you can start Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I'm tempering expectations for everyone on Minnesota. This offense, I think the ceiling is lower with J.J. McCarthy for now at quarterback. Browns and the Jets. You start Quinshon Judkins. You start Garrett Wilson. You start Breece Hall. Stash Isaiah Davis. That's about it. I'm stashing A.D. Mitchell where I can, and I've been saying this all week long. A.D. Mitchell, I love him, the Colts receiver that the Jets acquired. Like, it's a great move by the Jets to buy low on A.D. Mitchell. He has tantalizing, mouth-watering talent and ability. Just can he put it all together upstairs? He is immediately the second best receiver on the Jets, and maybe he doesn't play at all today. Maybe it's like 2 snaps. I'll bet over 5.5 receiving yards if he plays, and I'm stashing him in fantasy. I think he's really, really good, and the upside is really, really high. Patriots and the Bucks. You're starting Travion Henderson with Ramondre Stevenson out, but Terrell Jennings is going to get carries, also scored a touchdown last week. Is this Kyle Williams day with Kayshon Boutte out? We shall find out. I'm not stashing Kyle Williams, but I'm just throwing that out there. And for the Bucks, you're starting Emeka Egbuka, you're starting Tez Johnson, you're starting Rashad White, but keep an eye, and if you need a desperation play today, Sean Tucker for Tampa Bay. I think you could do worse than that. Cardinals and the Seahawks. Michael Carter didn't play at all, really, on Monday night against the Cowboys. I've got Bam Knight. Shout out to Emeril Lagasse. Bam! Amari DiMercato, and obviously all the jokes because of what happened at the goal line against Tennessee and that loss. DiMercato's better than Bam Knight, and I think 1-for-1, I would prefer DiMercato today. You're starting Harrison, you're starting McBride, you're starting Walker, you're starting Charbonnet, you're starting JSN. You can start Rashid Shaheed. I'm worried about A.J. Barner and Elijah Arroyo now with the embarrassment of riches for the Seahawks now at the receiver position. They had been playing tons of 2 tight ends. I think now with Shaheed, once Torrey Horton's back, you've got Cooper Kupp as well. I'm worried about the tight ends now for Seattle. Rams and the Niners, you're starting your Rams. Stafford, Kyron, Puka, Devontae Adams. I don't hate Blake Corum today because I think the Rams will be up big in the game. I think Mac Jones props are in play, like passing attempts, McCaffrey receiving yards. I don't think the Niners are going to be able to run the ball. This could be like a pass-heavy game plan from Kyle Shanahan. Lions and the Commies, you're starting all your Lions. Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Laporta, and Jamison Williams. I'm worried about Bill Krosky-Merritt. He's been terrible recently. You've got Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. I don't think you can start either one, but I'm just saying, I don't know if it's happening rest of year for Bill Krosky-Merritt. And on Sunday Night Football for the Steelers, you're starting Jaylen Warren and DK Metcalf, and that's about it. All the Steelers tight ends play. It's hard to pick which one's going to have a big game. For the Chargers, temper expectations for Kamani Vidal against the Steelers' defensive front and the Chargers' offensive line being bad. But, man, I'm starting Justin Herbert. They're going to have to throw in this game. Ladd, Gadsden, Quentin Johnston. And keep an eye on Chargers second-round rookie Trey Harris, who's starting to play a lot more at wide receiver for the Bolts. And I'll just give my thought on Monday Night Football tomorrow. I think the Eagles win comfortably. I don't know about comfortably, but I do like the Eagles tomorrow night. Great Monday night game in Lambeau against the Packers. And that does it for the Week 10 NFL Sunday edition of You Better You Bet on the Fan. Football Sunday with my friend, the great. Is Moose there? What's up, Moose? The great Mark Malusis is coming.
What's up, Kostos?
How are you, my friend?
Good, man. It's always great hearing you on a Sunday morning, brother.
How do we
Are
feel
you still
about
wacko for Flacco?
Well, not this week because the Bengals are on bye.
I know.
Maybe next week, my friend. So until we meet again, dear listener, that's the national edition of the show, 11 a.m. today. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, the weekday edition of the show. Hit me up on Instagram at the Kostos, TheKostos. And next Sunday in this time slot at 8 a.m. Eastern, it's not a national show. Sorry. I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Let's get it today. Week 10, NFL Sunday.
Get the latest on the Giants and Jets on WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York.